Hello and welcome to Don't Be a Kook, the podcast with myself, Laura Crane. This podcast is all about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, which is why I ask each guest what their number one life fail is, or in surfing terms, their number one kook moment. I want to know how they came back from those tough moments and what they learnt along the way. So with a light heart and no filter, welcome to Don't Be a Kook, the podcast. Today's guest is Olympic champion diver and I'm a celebrity contestant, Matty Lee. Matty, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I will start this podcast the way we start every podcast, and it's to ask you, what is your number one life kook moment?
So it's right off the bat. I like that. Okay. Yeah, get into it. I think my kook, that's how I say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's new to me, this term. Mine was back in 2016. It was at the World Cup, which is the test event for the Olympic Games, and I had a very good chance of qualifying for the whole thing individually. I showed growth to basically be able to get there. But at the World Cup, it was the prelim, and all you need to do to get a spot for GB, not me, is come top 18. And I did it the year before when I was a year younger, and I basically had the worst competition of my entire life. In individual, on 10 meter you do 6 dives, and I remember my first 2 dives were actually really good, and I was fourth or third, and I was still young at this point. I think I just turned 18. And yeah, I was third or fourth after 2 rounds of dives. And then I think the third, I can't remember exactly what dive it was, but the third round dive, I basically just messed up big time. And Rio, if anyone remembers, it was an outdoor pool. And I don't like diving outdoors because then it becomes, you've got the blue sky, you've got the blue water, you've got the sun in your face, you've got the wind. And trying to do rotations in the air is really, really difficult. And obviously when we do dives, we have to spot where we are. Yeah, so then when you see 2 lots of blue and you got a blinding sun, it becomes very, very difficult. And I already hate it. And I remember it being really, really hot. And I was in the water, but I was sweating still, which was, not fun. But basically I bombed out big time. I ended up coming second to last, or even maybe last in this competition, where I should have easily been able to make the final, which is top 12. And I remember crying behind the boards. And I remember one of the coaches, not my coach, but a coach came up to me, basically bollocked me for having such a bad performance. And obviously as a young athlete, any athlete, any person doesn't deserve anything like that, especially when, I've just done a bad comp, and I already know that for myself. I'm crying about it. And I guess just the feeling of my Olympic dream. I even called my cat Rio. He's well cute, and luckily we've managed. When I call him Rio, I never think of Rio Olympics or anything like that, which is actually quite a random one. But it was my dream to go to the Olympics, and I thought that was my only best chance to go. Obviously wasn't thinking about Tokyo at the time, and yeah, I messed up really badly. My dreams felt like they were all just falling apart. And the one thing I guess I learned from that is that things don't always go to plan, ever, really. And you definitely always learn the most from the failures. Mm-hmm. And I know it's cliche and it's difficult to understand, especially in the moment. In the moment I was upset, I was crying, I was really negative, angry, upset, I just wanted to fly home. But obviously, I got home, and after having my time off, kind of realised that it's not the end of the world. But I remember watching my fellow teammates go out to Rio, and I was gutted. Yeah. Because obviously, as any Olympic athlete, well, in a sport that is in the Olympics, the Olympics is the biggest thing, right? For sure. And just kind of seeing it all fall apart was the worst thing ever. But obviously, I feel things like that, without that learning curve and being able to take such a failure, I don't think I'd have been able to, I guess, perform the way I did with Tom at the Olympics in Tokyo.
The comeback story is serious.
Yeah.
The comeback story is good.
It's pretty damn good, to be fair.
And to backtrack a little bit from then, so you named your cat Rio.
Mm-hmm.
because you wanted to be in the Olympics, win, do the best.
Yeah.
When was it that you knew that diving was what you wanted to do?
So I started diving when I was 7, and obviously when I started it, it was just a bit of fun, you know. It's probably, to be honest, my mum and dad probably just got me into it because I guess it gets me out of the house. And I actually started, it was like a summer camp. So I guess it's probably like, I don't think it was free. It might have been free, but it's basically like free childcare. You know, my mum and dad both working, so they were probably like, yeah, just go. My older brother also did it before me. So when I was learning to swim after it, I would watch him dive, and I was like, well, that looks, for me, I was like, that looks a lot more fun than swimming. So I'm glad I obviously gave it a try. But I think it wasn't until, I remember being in primary school. It was like all my teachers, for some reason, even when I first started, even like in year 3 when I started diving when I was 7, I remember my teacher being like, oh, you're going to go to the Olympics, you're going to win. And I'm like, as a kid, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then that kind of just kept on happening throughout the years of education. Like all my teachers would just be like, yeah, like you're going to, and I would just be like, yeah, of course I might, like, you know, obviously that's what I want to do. But it wasn't until like, I guess when I was in high school, I started to actually, I didn't really go to high school much because I was traveling. And I think then I realized, wait a minute, like no one else is doing this. Like no one else is having this time off from school and being able to travel, I guess, the world at such a young age. And I was like, oh, shit, like maybe I'm quite good at this. Maybe, you know, I can take this really far. So I think it wasn't until probably year 7, I'd say. Yeah. Don't know how old I am.
That's still pretty young.
Yeah.
I don't remember how old we are in year 7, maybe like 11.
Yeah.
And that's super, it's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Same, honestly though, I think if you don't know by that point, then you're kind of late to the game. I mean, there's some people that just freakishly do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like in diving especially, people always start really young.
Yeah.
And there's the odd few that start quite late. And by late, I mean like 13.
Yeah.
Even though that's not old at all, but I guess in the sport it is.
But the more time in it with your body young, I think is always like the best.
Yeah,
right?
and diving is not a long-lived career, which is, I guess, annoying because obviously, like, I've realised I'm good at it. I can make a job out of it, but it will have to end kind of soon. I'm 25 now, so like, I say 30 is the max.
Yeah. And what is that, just purely down to impact on your body?
Yeah. And I think it's quite similar to gymnastics as well. Like the impact the guys have and the girls have over at gymnastics is a lot.
Yeah.
And for some reason, not necessarily, look, the Chinese divers, they're the best. They are the best. Usually no one ever beats them. They only really get beaten at the Olympics, but only in one event, which is weird. But it's kind of obviously good because, you know, I was part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually the Chinese divers are all really young, and it's really embarrassing when I come. Like, I'll tell my mates, "Oh, I've done quite well. I've got on the podium. I came 3rd or 2nd," and then I'm there stood on the podium, and there's like 2 kids next to me, and I'm like, "Oh God!" And they always give me a bit of shit for it. I'm like, "Yeah, but still, they're sick."
When you say like, obviously, it's a short career in terms of careers, and when you're thinking about like injury and stuff and not pushing it too much and peaking at the right time. Obviously, we've got Paris 2024.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, the last Olympics was like a year late already, so like everything feels like kind of crammed, right?
Yeah, it does.
And how do you kind of, I mean, injuries inevitable in anything really, but how do you kind of try to make sure that you're not pushing it too much and that you have to be there, you know, in like a month's time for Worlds and all those things? Like, do you have somebody on that always like monitoring it, or is it kind of you as well? Because no one knows your body, I guess.
Yeah, no, like you say, everyone can do everything they can, but only you know your body. Yeah. And a lot of the times I've definitely felt throughout my career, like people have called me lazy, but I'm not. I believe I know my body really well. And that's something I've really struggled with throughout the years, especially when I was like a junior, because people, like the staff would just be like, nah, you're just lazy, you're not gonna ever amount to anything and all this stuff. And I was like, nah, just trust me. Like, I need to rest. But yeah, in at this stage in my career, like we have got a really big and helpful team around us that support us with everything. I mean, my coach, Jane Figueiredo, she knows how to, I guess, produce Olympic champions. She's done it with me and Tom. She had an endless amount of female Russian athletes back in the day that she got to win gold and other Olympic medals. So she knows how to do it. But I get it does become tough because, you know, we'll get close to, like, for example, I've got world champs coming up, and that's an important one because we can qualify a spot for the Olympic Games. And like, we all tend to get, you know, you get excited. You know, you're like, oh, like, we're running out of time. We need to like do more and do a load of like 10 meter. And like with 10 meter, we can't train it every day because the impact is so big. And like, honestly, if I did 10 meter every day, I'd be broken.
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying because obviously that's the board we compete, but we're actually not allowed to train it crazy. Every day. Yeah, we train it 3 times a week.
Only? Yeah.
So I say on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do 2 sessions on those days. But still, like, you'd think we'd probably just do that every day.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I know the impact of a 10 meter. In fact, our filmer right here, he knows the impact of 10 meter because in Norway about 2 weeks ago, I like got to the thing, there was like 3 levels, and I looked at it and I was like, I'm definitely just going off the top, like 100%. Go up there, jump off, and then he like comes up and goes to walk up the thing, jump off, and I'm like, yeah, go, Joe. And then I just see him like send it off, and then his arms just come out to the side, and all of a sudden just slams, and that 10 meter must have felt, I don't know, like 100.
Yeah,
terrible.
No, yeah. If you hit the water wrong on 10 meter, even on a lower board, it wrecks.
Yeah.
It honestly wrecks. And I've been very lucky in my career that I've never actually had any serious hits on 10 meter.
That's good.
I've had some big hits like lower boards, and I've had concussion before from just missing my hand grab, and then the water just hits you on the head, and it really, really hurts.
But that is something that not enough people know. Yeah. If you hit water at a speed and a height like that, it literally is concrete. Like, it doesn't have any give. If you slam that, it could literally be like, because when we do big wave stuff, we wear like full impact vests. You guys have literally got a pair of like Speedos.
Little tiny Speedos,
There's no protection.
Do nothing. Absolutely do nothing.
It's crazy because when you watch it on TV or whatever, it just looks so, like, every time you guys do it, it always goes the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it looks effortless.
For real. Like, every time I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it must be so easy for them. But, you know, when you're on the top, and obviously I guess a lot of it is your setup, like how you start it, do you know instantly, like, that it's already, like, a mistake? If it's going wrong, it's going wrong?
Sometimes. Definitely sometimes. Like in a competition, like, for example, like the synchro with Tom in Tokyo, like, even when I woke up that morning, I knew it was weird. I knew we were going to win. And I really did. And I believe that Tom also felt the exact same. But like a dive on 10 is only like, it's like 1.5 seconds long. But we have to do so much stuff in that. And your mind's like if I like have a bad takeoff, then I have to like really quickly think, oh, well, I'm not going to make it that well, so I'm going to have to kick a bit later. So it's actually kind of crazy, like how quick your brain can actually work in such a short amount of time to stop you from, you know, basically fucking it up.
Full commit.
Yeah.
Just in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had loads of highs, I'm sure loads of lows. What advice would you give a young person wanting to follow their dream as an athlete, or just follow their dream in something that they love?
I would say just, honestly, just enjoy the ride, because like now, like, I've got to this point, I'm like, I can't remember anything from Tokyo because I was so like focused, and like I didn't ever stop and think, oh my God, I'm at the Olympics, sort of thing. I was, you know, like, and I kind of wish I could go back and just kind of take a minute and just take it all in, like, just like kind of appreciate what you're doing, and take time for that as well. Like, even if it's not the Olympics, even if it's you know, a small national competition, just be like, hang on a minute, like, I've done this, I've got this far, and like actually taking it in and enjoying the moment as well. A lot of the times you don't, like, I didn't really enjoy Tokyo until it was over. Obviously, like, I got to celebrate and do all that sort of stuff, but like, I don't remember ever taking a minute and being like, oh my God, I'm here, sort of thing. I was just pooing myself the whole time.
Really?
To be quite honest, yeah. Apart from the day, I was well nervous.
Oh, no, it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
But that's actually, I'm like such a fan of the Olympics. I actually kind of like cringe. Well, it's not cringe because it's sick. So
No,
I'm not
yeah, I
embarrassed
agree.
about it at all. But I love watching it. Like avidly watched it every single year I've been alive. What happens? You've obviously been on the podium, which must just feel insane. Like every time I watch it, like I get teary.
No, so do I. Like, yeah, so do I. Yeah.
But what happens after? Like, do you guys have mad parties? Like, is it in like the Olympic Village? Like, what happens after?
Yeah, no. So like, obviously, unfortunately, because it was Tokyo and it was in like lockdown or like COVID restrictions, like there wasn't much going on apart, like, you know, in the village. And because the synchros on mine and Tom's synchros on day 2 of the games, and there was a rule where you had to basically fly home or like at least leave the village like 2 days after your comp.
Oh, really?
So I was already flying back home like 2 days after the comp, which was kind of rubbish, but at the same time, I loved it because I think I was like the first gold medalist back on home soil, which was really special because, you know, like the media were like just soaking me up, and I've never felt like the whirlwind was incredible. I remember because I was back home in Leeds with my family, and like having to wake up really early, and basically had a full day of like just interviews, but it was all on Zoom, which was, I guess, good because that meant I could do a lot of interviews and I didn't have to be places. And I remember going on Good Morning, is it Good Morning Britain? No, This Morning. Yeah. And that was cool for me. Like I was like, oh my God, this is sick. Like I've never sat on a couch on like a daytime TV show.
That is super cool.
Yeah, but I think there was a party. If you were competing at the very end of the Olympics, there was, because Tom and Noah Williams, they did the individual event, and that was like the last day of the Olympics. And that they did tell me Team GB threw like a little party in the block. Sick. Yeah, which sounded good. That. Yeah, but I know I made up for it in the UK though.
Yeah, that's true. What's like after being on like This Morning and going on shows like that? Obviously, that must have happened really quickly for you, going and being like just one of 2 divers that are like in with a chance, and then all of a sudden being like first Olympic champion back home in the Olympic. Who was like, when was it that you realised that things had changed, that you weren't just you anymore, that you like kind of, you know, someone else owned a part of you in the media?
No, yeah. Like I remember, I think it was like the first day I got home, and like all my like neighbours that I've never seen before, because it's like I lived in London for the past 5 years now, so like I haven't lived in Leeds for a while, and there was like loads of new neighbours that I've never seen. They're all quite young, and they were just all like waiting for me to like leave the house, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like I've lived here I used to live there like my whole childhood. I was actually born in that house, which is a weird thing, but I remember just thinking like, what the hell? Like why is there basically a crowd of people outside the house? And then also the media as well. Like they would, like, even though like we'd plan like interviews with my manager, like there was some media people that were just like, they didn't get a slot, so they just wait outside. And my dad, bless him, he was he can't say no to anyone like that. Like he was loving it. But I was like, Dad, like you need to tell him to like basically go away, because they'd like knock on the door and stuff. And I was like, and I felt like such a diva. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Tell them.
yeah, tell them to leave. So it's like stuff like that, which was just weird. And like, you know, I'd go into Leeds and people would know who I was and would say like, oh, well done. And I was like, damn, my life has changed, I guess. Yeah.
And obviously like Dad passing last year, does that bring so much more meaning to the fact that he was there when you won that medal, and that, you know, you could share that with him in person? Yeah,
like 100%. Like it's kind of weird. Like, for example, that I guess the Olympics was in July 26th of 2021. And then I guess my dad passed away like a year in October from that. So like from, I guess, that time span, like, and obviously I had I'm a Celeb in there too, and all these different cool things. And like, I genuinely feel like in like basically a year, I experienced the highest of highs a human can I guess experience, and then I also experienced lowest of lows in, I guess, a very short amount of time. So it kind of made it feel the feelings were extreme because of that, I think, because even just in general, like I remember after I'm a Celeb, like that's when the post-Olympic depression hit me, because I guess I was looking forward to I'm a Celeb so much. and I was still riding the high. And then after I'm a Celeb, I remember it was just like back to training. And I was like, oh, it's all over, sort of thing. And then I guess then, like obviously losing my dad, like it did definitely bring, like it made, I guess, Tokyo so much more special. Obviously, it would have been better if they were all there, because obviously there was no spectators. But at the same time, like and then the thing I love is that I've got so many interviews. I can just search on YouTube and I'll just be able to hear my dad speak, and I love that. Like, and I can see it, like, and he absolutely, I guess, lived, I guess, his dream as well. Like, you know, seeing one of his sons, I guess, do what I guess you set out to do, and he got to see that, and we all got to experience that with each other. So yeah, it definitely made it like a lot more special. Yeah, for sure.
If there's one way to make your dad proud, it's an Olympic gold.
Yeah, no, legit, yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's epic.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's obviously a side of you that you spend so much of your life from like 7 diving, and you know you want to do your parents proud, and you want everyone around you that supports you, you want to do them proud, and you obviously do it for yourself as well, and you build this whole life around sport, and it becomes your whole just like persona and what you're known for. And like, I really struggled with it as well once I stopped competing, was separating the fact that just because I don't compete doesn't mean that I'm not a surfer anymore. You know, like when someone's like, oh, like what do you do for a job? And I'd always be like, oh, I'm a surfer. And I really struggled with that change of being able to tell somebody that that's, you know, who I am, that's what I do, because just by explaining to someone, then they kind of know you effectively in a way. Like it's easier just to, and that was so hard for me to kind of get over. Do you ever think about what that is going to feel like, and how you, I don't know, how you prepare for that, and what you do after diving? Because like you said, it's a short career. Like me too, I'm 28 and retired already, like 4 or 5 years in this. Yeah, no, so like that's definitely something I do think about quite a lot, and I guess probably all athletes do, like what next, like what do I do after? And because for the time I can remember, I have been a diver. So I feel like whenever that day comes, I hope I have a plan. I don't currently, because you know, like I guess with any sport, like my career could be over tomorrow. You never know. You might, you know, have a really bad injury and boom, gone. But like I kind of always, and I remember at school, in high school, my teacher's always like, you need a plan B, like do well in your studies. And I really struggled at school just because I think I love diving so much, and I'm not very good at sitting down and doing work. So like they always used to give me a load of crap, my teachers, like, you know, you need to have a plan B, but like I kind of love the fact that I did what I did and didn't need a plan B at that point. But no, like, and obviously there's a lot of people, like we have a lifestyle coach, we have psychologists that kind of are there to help with that transition as well into, I guess, normal life. But I still believe like I will struggle. Yeah. Like I think you can get, as an athlete, you can get as much help as you need, or you think you need, but you still struggle because it is, you know, you identify as a diver, a surfer, and then when that kind of goes, it's like, well, what the hell? Yeah, like what am I? Who am I? Yeah, literally, it's honestly the most insane thing. And even now, I haven't been competing for however long, but there's a part of me that, you know, this year I want to go back and surf like big waves, and I'm like, well, am I doing that because I really want to do it, or am I just trying to get the identity back? Like that's what it's a battle. Like I don't think it's. And with diving, like it's not, honestly, you can't just have like 2 years off and then come back. No. Like you can have like literally, I'll have 3 weeks off this summer and I'll come back and I'll be a novice. Like that's how quick you lose it in diving. So it's not like when I ever do retire, I won't be able to just return. Like obviously, I guess. With surfing, like with dive, like I just won't. It won't be the same. Like I won't be able to dive off 10. I'll end up breaking. Yeah, no, I'll have to actually train. But I guess the reason why I've retired is because I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. But also, I remember through my psychologist helping me out with this. Like obviously, you're basically trying to, like whilst I'm in the sport, trying to realize that I am also Matty Lee, like a person, a human, not just a diver. So I think that definitely probably will help. But inevitably, that when that day comes, I will struggle. Yeah, I don't think there's any athlete on the planet that hasn't struggled with that transition, honestly. No. And I mean, it's so nice to hear that there is support, I guess, for you guys, because there definitely wasn't that back in the days. No. Like when we were young, it wasn't a thing at all. But I don't know. I guess every single athlete is a little bit different, but you guys, I mean, to walk up onto a 10 meter,
10 foot,
to walk up onto a 10 meter diving board in Speedos,
I know.
in itself is quite
it's an achievement.
It's an achievement. The gold medal is one thing, but walking up there in your Speedos and looking good in it.
I do try.
You've done, you're killing it. But is there parts of that of like always being like naked pretty much, as I also pretty much spent my life doing a similar thing, that you have to feel like you have to be in shape, that you have to look good. Obviously you have to like perform well, but to actually, you're exposed.
There's no hiding. And for sure, like I feel, in a sport like diving, there are, I've never had like an eating disorder or body dysmorphia, but it's flagged up a few times. Where I think I had I was seeing a therapist, I guess, after Amosilla. I don't know if you got that after Love Island. Did ITV pay for you to get?
They kind of just
because I think maybe they learned that they should have done.
We were very early.
Yeah,
and then
I know.
Obviously there was like
people
we lost people, and I think after that they had to.
Well, Amosilla obviously helped people afterwards if they needed it. And I think even if you didn't need it, they'd make you do a few sessions, which I think is obviously very important. Because obviously it's probably very similar, but you do feel like, I don't know, I felt like a rock star when I was on Amosilla. Like I was like, because the show evolves around you guys, the contestants, the campmates, and then all of a sudden, like I guess afterwards, it's like there was like 40 cameras on it daily, and then all of a sudden it's like nothing, and it was definitely my toughest moments after Amosilla. But the therapist, she it got flagged up originally because of like body dysmorphia. Like you have to do loads of questionnaires and stuff, which is good, but it flagged body dysmorphia up. But then so I went and saw a specialist about that, and she was adamant even after one set. I continued to see her because we just kind of spoke about generic things and how I felt, and mainly to do with like love. Like I just for some reason after Amosilla, I was like, I want a girlfriend. Like I don't really know. I felt like at this point in my life, I was like, I'm successful. Like I'm in at the minute. Like I just want a girlfriend sort of thing. It was weird and desperate. I never found one anyway, but she was basically helping me, I guess, with that, which sounds weird. But no, like basically with my body on show, like 24/7, like there's no hiding. And then like I guess people, not everyone would see it, but I would always notice like little tiny changes, and I like in it, and I still do to this day. Like I right now, I don't think I'm in great shape, and I guess that is okay. And I am probably in great. I am in great shape, but it's just, I don't know, when you become it's an obsession, because obviously it's a judge sport. Yeah. And obviously the better I look, I'm like, it's not correct, because obviously the judges are meant to just score the dive, but it's if it's done on humans, like obviously if you look good, they're already, they might give you a half a point extra just because you look ripped and strong. And that's probably half the reason why, like, when I go to, I'm quite naturally a hairy guy, but when, like, swimmers, they shave their bodies, but that's for performance. That's for, I guess, aerodynamics. But for diving, like, not everyone, but like I'll like not shave either, because that's effort. But I'll like trim most of my hair off my whole body, just because I think it looks better, especially on the TV lights. Like if I look more chiseled, then I feel like. And to be fair with me, like the better I look, the better I feel. But obviously, I guess half the year, I don't think I look that great. So I guess I don't feel the best. Yeah. Which is definitely, it's tough. And like we do get help on those sort of things, but I guess it's like it's a battle within yourself. But it's nothing like spiraling. It's not a serious
That's fine.
thing.
It's okay. I don't. No, but I get it. Like honestly, for me, I mean, I massively struggled hugely with an eating disorder from 15 till literally 2 years ago. Like bulimia just ran my life, and it was the main reason why I had to stop competing, because I couldn't put weight on because I wouldn't allow myself. And I think sometimes it's a way of just doing a little bit of self-harm, you know, like a little bit of a jab, you know, okay, maybe I won this comp, or maybe I did a good heat, but like I think a lot of it is I felt like I didn't deserve to have what I was having, you know, so then it comes in with food as well. But I definitely, there's so many similarities with literally what you just said. And obviously, you know, growing up young, being in Speedos from young. And I also think that you have this idea of kind of being ripped, and I mean in every year you get, probably as anyone, like you get bigger, you know, you get stronger. So my mentality was I was always trying to get Laura back to 15-year-old Laura, who had like no boobs, no bum, like just totally ripped, like completely straight down. And then all of a sudden I started getting boobs and like a waist and all these things. You're right, it's changed, but you're so self-critical because you're seeing photos all the time, you're seeing video of you, and you're having to like analyze your videos and be like, okay, that's not perfect, that's not perfect, that's not. In turn, slowly, I think you do just subconsciously start to analyze everything. Yeah. You know,
I was gonna say like half the time when like I'm getting shown like we'll do a dive and then our coach would show us a video. Probably half the time I'm not actually looking at the dive. I'm like, oh, I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
Do I look good? Genuinely, that's like half. That's which is not great.
Bearing in mind we're doing like crazy stuff, you know. The same, like I would see a surf photo and I'd be like, oh, that's a sick turn. But I'd be like, oh, but my like belly's kind of like rolling over, my bikini bottom's a bit. Don't take away from the sick turn, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's insane. That's also, I think, the athlete mentality, though, isn't it? To just always want for better, want for more, and never to, you know, you have to be like that. You have to have that mentality. And my therapist also said to me that your competitive like streak to be the best and to want more is also what can kind of like spiral your mental health and spiral all of these thoughts so quickly. But it's also, I think, can be really helpful when you do want to get better and you do want to like kind of tackle these things. And I think it's hard when you're in the sport because you can't, until you're out, it's hard to really see those things for what they are. But I do think that the athlete mind is just insane. Like we can go so against ourselves, but also just then just pull it out the bag when it really matters most. You know?
And like I agree with what you're saying about the mentality. Like I think athletes are just I don't know if you're born with. Obviously, I do genuinely believe like you're kind of born with like just a different mindset. Obviously, you have to find it, develop it, and work on it. But I think athletes, they just like you say, well, like the reason why I want to be in good shape all the time is because I want to dive really well. Like if I'm in good shape, that means I'm strong and well, not always, but in my head, that's how it works out.
For sure.
So like I'm always like being really critical, and I almost obviously as long as it's not harming, because it's not to a point where it's like, you know, I'm not like missing a meal or, you know, anything like that, or avoiding junk food. I love junk food. I probably eat it too much. Like I know my faults, and I know like it's actually quite a healthy relationship because for example, I'll have like a bad weekend where I've had 2 deliveries. I've had a pizza and a burger or something. And then obviously the following week after that, I'm like, I'm not in good shape, but I'm like, but I know why, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, and I kind of know how to get myself back into the shape. So, and obviously that's something I've had to learn over the years and work with nutritionists and stuff. And a lot of the nutritionists are great because they're like, you still need to live. You still need to be a human, and you still need to enjoy food and not just eat leaves all day, because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, and that like, I think it's so easy to look at food like it's a bad thing, you know, that I can't eat that, it's bad for me or whatever. And like good and bad food, my therapist told me, she's like, you have to stop putting them into brackets. You know, everything is good if it's in moderation, that is fine. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I also think it's super cool just how, I mean, I've been very open about talking about my eating disorder, but how men are talking about it, not more, like, to be honest, like to hear you speak about it with like this much vulnerability is like really cool, because I do get so many young men message and say like, I'm really embarrassed to share it or whatever. But I think it's almost worse for men because, you know, in like, I'd say women, we've gone through this stage of having, you know, we had like plus size, that all came in. And my main reason for going on Love Island was I wanted to be kind of that representative that I needed to see when I was 15, like a bit more of a stronger build, more athletic, like I don't wear makeup really, I'm terrible at doing my hair, all those little things. And I wanted to be that on TV for me, you know, when I was young. And I think as I see the like TV world evolve. We've definitely got more representation for women, but I don't think it's changed that much for men.
Yeah.
Like even looking at Love Island.
I was about to say,
You know?
yeah, like I've not watched it, and I usually don't watch it.
Yeah, same.
But like, I might watch an episode here and there because everyone's talking about it, and I kind of want to get involved with the chat. But no, the guys on that they're always jacked.
Yeah.
Always ripped. They've all got a tattoo sleeve. Like they all look very similar, I think, every year. And like you said, they haven't. I guess I've not seen an out of shape guy on that in a long time.
No, and not an out of shape girl either, to be fair,
No.
but just more. There's more representation of different body types, I would say, for the women.
Yeah.
Like, there's just not that for men, and that's hard. Like that's really hard, I think, for sure. Today's podcast is brought to you by a product I now could not live without. Alenzia Protein is the world's first vegan protein peptide gel, making 100% protein absorption possible. I've seen such a difference in my energy levels, recovery, and focus since taking it, and I've literally forced everybody close to me to get on it too. Alenzia Protein is sustainably sourced and has more protein per gram than any other protein products to help us keep doing what we love for longer. Thanks, Alenzia. So obviously you train most days when you're in training season, which is pretty much all year round right now. Do you have any other hobbies like outside that you enjoy doing when you're just being Matty, not a diver, just you? What are they?
I love it's obviously sport related as it always is, but I love F1. I just find it so interesting, and it was something my brother was into for a long time, and then I think I got into it around like 2016, and like me and my brother went to the Spa Belgian Grand Prix in 2017, which was really fun, and it was like a good brotherly trip. Like we've never really done anything like that as adults. Like we're both adults now. And that was like, it's kind of our way of bonding as well. And my mum absolutely loves it too. And me, my mum and my brother, it was my brother's 30th in November. And we went out to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And that was really fun. My dad was never into F1 anyway. We'd all put it on, like my mum, me and my brother would be watching it on a Sunday. If I was home, which I'm never am. But I can remember a few times, and my dad would just be like, nah, not watching it. He was never really a sporty guy anyway. He couldn't swim either, which was funny, yeah. But I love watching F1, keeping up to date with it all. I like to play golf. Sport related, it's funny, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but that's normal.
But yeah, I'm not very good. When I'm in Leeds, I play a lot because I think it's just so much easier to get to a course. It's cheaper, and all my friends play it up there. But down here, I don't know. I feel like you need a car to go play golf because it's all out of London, obviously, because there's no green space in London. But I try to play as much as I can, even though I don't. I get told off from my coach because I've got an injury at the minute in my hip. Like, you know, I guess golf's all about your hips. And
swinging.
Yeah. I posted a story like a few weeks ago, like playing golf, and my coach replied to it like, "Yep, no, can't be doing." She's American. Well, she's got an American accent, so she's like, "No, you can't do that, Matty." I was like, "Oh, sorry." But it's like finding balance as well. I said to her, I was like, "Look, it's good for my head, my headspace. I love to get out in I guess in the middle of nowhere and just play it. So I think it outweighs itself anyway for me personally." Yeah. Other than those two, I just feel like I don't have time to do anything either. You know, I train all day, get home, and then I'm too tired to do anything. I very much feel like I don't have, and it's got worse as well as I've got older. I don't have a social life. It's pretty bad. Like I think it's something to do with like me being in London as well, because I don't know many people in London still. Been here 5 years. But at the same time, like I might get invited to something, but I'll be like, nah, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So it's like a horrible balance.
This place can be so lonely. I also, when I like came out of Love Island and stuff and retired from surfing, I moved here because I was like, hey, maybe this is where I have to be for this new thing that I'm doing. And it's so lonely. I think you can be surrounded by thousands and thousands of people every day, like within a meter of that many people, and literally not speak to one person. And that I found that really hard. The same, like where I'm from is a really small town. Everyone kind of knows everyone. You can walk like places and like wave.
Yeah, everyone says hello.
Yeah, for sure. And then to be here and you wave to someone or even just smile. I
Oh,
like
you're a
smile at
weirdo.
an old lady in Hyde
yeah,
Park.
but
and
you'd
she'd
get. Yeah, I know.
You know, what
I
are you
hate
doing?
that. I hate that
Yeah.
about London. Like, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because everyone's just in a rush to be somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what it is. But like in Leeds, I'll walk around and smile at everyone, and everyone will smile back.
Yeah.
In London, like I literally on a weekend, I'll finish training Saturday morning, get home at like 11 a.m. and some like the weekend just being, I didn't see anyone apart from the guy at Sainsbury's and I think my like postman, and I didn't even speak to anyone the whole weekend, which I hate.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I just don't underestimate that for sure.
Mhm.
I felt it a lot. That's the main reason why I moved. I was like, I just don't do anything. And like everybody that is in London is kind of, or that I was around, were young and could party all the time.
Yeah,
and obviously you can't
Yeah,
do that.
no.
So like
What else
it's
is
hard
there
to
do?
find people that just want to do like sports or like, things
Yeah.
that are good for you.
Yeah.
Especially our age, like this kind of time to go wild and do like crazy
No, yeah,
stuff. you know?
it is. Or you settle down somewhere.
Yeah.
At our age, I'm just like, bloody hell.
Yeah, no.
Mhm.
Well, still got time.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I think we've got plenty of time for that.
Okay, when I watch the Olympics, which is every year, and I try and watch basically everything.
Yeah.
What does it feel like when they put the flag up, and then the national anthem goes? Like, what? How do you feel? Like, what goes through your like body, mind
Yeah.
in that moment?
Like like you describing like the flag going up and stuff like that. I've literally seen that in my head many times as a kid, as a teenager, all the way up until I guess Tokyo. And like for it to actually happen in front of me, like it was just kind of, I was well confused in a way. I was like, as if this is actually happening. And I remember being behind the podium, and that's kind of when it hit me. When I thought about my family, and I remember I started actually like crying, not like blubbering. Actually, no, a little bit, yeah. I was crying behind the podium, but because I basically just straight away thought of like my family are watching this all together. Like that's the thing that kind of made it in a weird way very special. Like, you know, I didn't have to worry about my old grandma. She's probably gonna listen to that and hate me saying no, but my grandma flying all the way to Tokyo. Like, you know, I'm quite a family person. I'm always. I'm not a worrier, but I guess I am. Like if I knew my grandma was coming all the way to Japan, I'd be worrying about how she's feeling, like the flight and all that sort of stuff. And even with my mum and dad, like they not crazy old either. But I just always end up worrying. And obviously when I'm competing, I don't want to worry about things like that. So it kind of made it in a way very magical to know that and obviously all my family and friends wouldn't have been able to come out either because it's so it's crazy expensive. For all of that sort of stuff. But my mum, my dad, my granny, my brother, all my cousins, all my best friends, my aunties, uncles were all in my garden at home watching it out. It was a beautiful morning. I think it was a beautiful day in England. And they were all watching it. And my dad brought the TV outside as well. I think probably because he was well funny with COVID. He's a bit of a jerk. Well, he was a germ freak. So like with COVID hit, like he was on it. But yeah, they were all in one place, and I remember thinking like, because obviously you do it for yourself, but you also do it for everyone you've ever known and everyone who's like had an impact on your life. And I kind of in that moment, I was like, damn, like I wonder, I want to see them, I want to feel them, I want to hear them, and like I kind of could imagine what they were all, I guess, doing, and then I started to cry, and then obviously like seeing. We were stood in the middle, we weren't stood on the sides where silver and bronze is, we were stood in the middle. I was like, this is actually crazy. Like, but it's like I said earlier, like for the advice for like a young person, like kind of starting something new or whatever, like it's so important to like stop and actually like think what you're actually doing. And I like, annoyingly, I don't really remember much, but I guess that's because it was so special and so, I guess the feeling was so unique. The one feeling I do remember though it's like quite a famous video of me and Tom when we found out. We like just went yeah, and then we hugged each other, and then I lifted him up, and then we were kind of like in a hug for a while, and then as we let go, I remember falling to the floor, like on my hands and knees, basically like a fetal position. But like I didn't feel weak, I didn't feel faint. I was crying, but like with my breath I was crying, but there was no tears. But it genuinely felt like just all of the sacrifices, all of the weight I carried on my shoulders for my whole career, especially like just even this that 1 year, because I knew we had a job to do and I knew we could do it.
Yeah.
And like the release, and that was me releasing all of that, like, I guess, energy. And it was a euphoric feeling, because I've never felt anything like it before, and I probably won't unless I win it. I guess probably no. If I win it again, it's not the same feeling.
Yeah.
But like, it was euphoric is the word I use.
Yeah. Well, and it was immense pressure, I get, for you personally, but then also on like the two of you, but then I guess also for you again personally, because he like needed that goal at that point, you know,
it's Tom Daly. Like everyone knows who he is, and he's already so successful in his career. I'm like, this is my first Olympics, and I knew I was going to do a job. Like, I knew me and Tom were put together because we were the best chance of a gold medal, and like that whole year we were undefeated. We won the European champs. We won at the World Cup. So we were on a winning streak, and like the pressure was immense, and like I could have easily messed up that last dive, and that would have made us lose that gold. Yeah. And like like the younger Matty would have definitely put that in his head like before that dive, and it probably would have happened. But and I could have then absolutely messed up the dive, and then it was all on me, and I would have failed. But I guess through, especially when we spoke about my Kook, the Rio qualifiers where I messed up really bad, like all of the things I've learned in my career, and I think this is really important as well, because like, and it's cliche, but it's absolutely true. Like your failures, the things that go wrong, are the things that I guess shape you into who you are, and that you learn the most from the bad days. You learn the most from the failures, and genuinely without all of those, and I've had a lot. I missed out on the Commonwealth Games because I had elbow surgery, and I remember getting all the kit, and it was my first big games experience, and I wasn't able to go because I had to have elbow surgery, and like things like that, like that messed with me as a kid. Like I was young then as well, and it really, really messed with me. And I remember my dad basically saying they wanted me to send the kit back, and my dad was like, absolutely not. But now I'm like, yeah, like I think we gave the whole kit to charity, because I ended up not using it, but it was like principle, and at the time it meant a lot to me, like to have my first, like, I guess, England kit. So it's like all these little things that have been really hard was all worth it, because obviously I eventually got to the, I guess, pinnacle point of my career, and I had all of these like lessons I've learned in my locker, and like on the end of the board, especially like during that competition, there was not a single negative thought that ever lapsed into my head. Usually there always is, but there was not one, and that was obviously, I guess, the reason why. I mean, that's the reason I performed like I did. Tom's just a beast anyway.
But do you think that was just in that one games, or do you think now every kind of, you know, competition that you've done since then, you've been able to channel that same kind of mental clarity of like, I've got this? Or I guess how do you do that before? How do you get mental clarity and like try to believe that you've got it already? Yeah,
so like after the Olympics, like I was like hoping that would always happen. You know, that I guess that mental soundness where like nothing was creeping in. Like I was just so confident and had all the belief in, I guess, myself and my body to do what it had to do. But it wasn't true. I guess my year after the Olympics, so in the 2022 season, was a very successful year for me. I missed out on like the first half of the year because my boss like agreed that I could go and I'm a celebrity, and that meant that I would kind of not be ready for like the first half of the season. But that was fine, like, and he allowed me to do that, which was great. And then so the second half, I went to nationals, and I was in. This was like me trying to start my individual campaign up, and I won nationals in individual, and then I went on to the world champs, and like me and my new singer partner Noah, we got a silver medal, which was really, really good. Like me and Tom, I haven't got a world silver medal yet. I haven't got a world gold medal. Well, I've got a world silver medal now, but before that, me and Tom only got a bronze. So it was like, it showed like, oh, we are still very good, and still able to achieve, you know, a medal at the Olympics is, I guess, a great thing. A really, really good thing. And then we went on to Commonwealth Games, and me and Noah won the synchro event, which the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham was like a perfect competition, because like obviously Tokyo we didn't get to kind of have spectators, and like I felt like my life has changed since then, and you know, like people, I guess, want to I guess, see me compete and, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And I genuinely, I felt like all of my Instagram followers are just there watching. Like, that's how loud everyone was. And I guess it was a home games as well, so it was really special. And then in the individual as well, I came third, which I was really happy about as well. Like, it was my first year properly doing individual. But then, coming on to this season, like, I haven't done very well so far. And I've done all right, but at the same time, like, obviously I had the tragedy of losing my dad in October. And, you know, October is pre-season time, so it's like a really important, like, part of training where, like, it's the bit of training you don't really want to miss because it's what builds you up for the season ahead. And I think obviously I didn't even have that much time off, but that was kind of on my own terms. I had only 2 weeks off, and then I was back down to London training. Do I regret that? I don't know, because at the same time, diving it helps me. Like, it's where I go to escape and do my, like, and I can do a training session and not think about anything, but also I think better as well when I'm training. So it's definitely like I had to go back for me, but I don't know, the start of this year hasn't been great, and I obviously know why, and it's tough. So, like, I don't know if I'll ever have that. Like, I want to have that concentration I did at the Olympics again. Like, obviously I did it once, so I should be able to do it again. But I guess since then I haven't. But the difference is I've got the confidence in myself. Yeah. Like, I feel like I don't actually need to, I don't know, train very well before a comp. I know I've done it before and I can do it again. So I think that's the thing that has changed for me, is the self-confidence.
That's sick. Like, I mean, if you can take that from what you've just been through in the last year, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you manifesting right now? Which also sounds really cliche, but what are you manifesting? Like, I journal all the time, which actually might be nice for you to do.
I did start it a little bit actually, but it's like I said, I hated school, and especially English, and I know it's your mind, so it's not like you have to be right or wrong. But I don't know, like, habits and stuff, I always struggle to, I guess it's making it become a habit.
Yeah, I'm terrible too. I'm so dyslexic. No one else can read what I'm writing.
Yeah,
but and there's terrible pictures.
Yeah.
But what you were saying about not actually remembering Rio. Sorry, Rio?
Tokyo.
No, Tokyo.
Yeah.
By not actually remembering Tokyo, that's when I always try to journal when, like, big life things have happened. And I don't want to forget moments or feelings or emotions that I felt in that, and it makes it easier to, like, think it. But anyway, not that I'm telling you what to do. But yeah, what are you manifesting right now?
Manifesting right now. Well, currently I'm thinking of dinner because
Nice.
I'm well
What are you
hungry.
gonna have?
I don't know. I have got a HelloFresh in, so I'll probably just make one of them. But I have to eat healthy too because I've had a bad week so far. Anyway, manifesting. I don't know. I feel like I've got an injury at the minute, and I've also got, you know, some serious competitions coming up, and usually I'd be freaking out at this period of time and, like, being quite negative and, like, you know, am I going to be ready? But I actually feel quite chill, and I'm not panicking, and, like, you know, I truly believe, like, you know, things happen for a reason and all that sort of stuff. And I guess, I don't know, manifesting, just, like, I don't know, personal soundness, like, just being okay with riding the wave, like, and if that wave crashes, which kind of has, I've got an injury and that's not great, that's okay. And just kind of, I don't know, not panic. And I think that's what I learned from Tokyo. Like, I've done it now. All this is just a bit of fun for the rest of my career. And when you're having fun, usually you do the best, you know, usually you can utilize your skill set. So yeah, just trying to stay being a positive guy.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And if you had one piece of advice for 15-year-old Matty knowing what you know now, what would that be?
I'd probably say, I don't know, buckle up. No, I would say just hold on tight and enjoy the ride, because it's been a serious ride of huge up and downs, but enjoy it. Yeah. Take it all in.
Sick. Journal it.
Yeah. I should have done. Damn. We should have had this podcast when I was 15.
No, I couldn't have done it when I was 15. I was off my head.
I'd be well shy as well back then.
Yeah, I don't think I could have held this. But we're here. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
For being on my podcast and sharing everything you shared. And good luck.
Thank you.
You'll smash it. I know you will. Injury will be good.
Positive
injections
vibes.
up the bum. Perfect.
Yes, literally. They're
Yeah.
not nice.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.